Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, peoples. Welcome to Sharp Ends. Thanks so much for joining me today. I thought I would go over what's in my kitchen block. I love cooking. I cook every single day, every single meal. My wife doesn't do any of that. It's one of the few things that I can do well. So I'm also into knives, and so I have a collection here of some very high-end knives from a lot of people that you know, and maybe some that you don't know. So I'm going to go through every single knife here in my kitchen block. This is going to be my kitchen block collection knife video. All right. So, first off, I'm going to ask you guys, please, could you smash that like button? Leave a comment. It really helps the channel. And as always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. So, I'm not really going to go through this. I guess I'll go from small to large. Okay. So, first off, cheapest thing in my knife block are these old crappy steak knives. They're literally the worst thing that I have in here. And why do I have them in here? Is because I don't necessarily want to hand everyone that comes to my house for dinner a nice, sharp Bark River knife. Some people are just not to be trusted with sharp knives. So I take these, and these are actually very sharp. I've got them at yard sales or wherever, and then I've taken them to my Ken Onion sharpener, belt sander, and I sharpen them up. And these are actually very nice little steak knives now that they're sharpened up, but they're not the most high-end thing. So I keep those in the bottom. Next, I have this for shucking oysters. God, who makes it? They're really good. Let me see if I can read the name on here. This is the Victronics oyster shucker. I don't know if you like oysters or not. I personally love them. I find this little oyster knife to be awesome because of the nice big fat handle here. Makes it very easy to open it on the hinge side. So if you like that, great. All right, and now moving on to some more serious stuff. So perhaps one of the very first knives that I got that was kind of high end is the North Arm. What do they call this? The trout and bird, or bird and fish knife, or the mallard. I think there's a couple of different names for it. This is Magna Cut. I really like this laser etching. Why do I like that laser etching, these lines here? Because when you're cleaning a kitchen knife, you often want to take the pad or the brush and you want to go up and down and clean this way. Well, when you do that with a lot of these steels, you end up leaving micro abrasions and lines on the nice satin finish. This hides all that, so that, it doesn't matter how I clean this knife. Now, I've sharpened this 3 times, I believe, and maintains an edge very nicely. It's got almost a mirror edge polish on it right now, and I sharpened it with my KME. This is a very nice little bird and trout knife, and I often will take it camping with me as well. It came with a Kydex sheath. I'm not going to try to find it now. You just have to believe me. But this is a great camp kitchen knife too for prepping food. So I do enjoy this knife. I think maybe the first knife I ever got in Magna Cut as well. And if you don't know, North Arms is made in British Columbia. And of course, it's probably about to get a lot more expensive with all the tariffs that we're about to get hit with. But if you want to grab one now, I would do it. This is well worth it. Next. Bark River Knives, Taupe Water Moccasin. I really like this knife. Dan Taupe designed this knife. If you don't know him, he's a pretty cool designer, and I like their collabs. I got this as Osage Orange and Mosaic Pins from DLT. This was a first production run. I bet that there's probably still some around from this run, and it's probably not going to be another few years before they run it again. I've sharpened this. I've learned how to sharpen a convex, and I think I actually sharpened this one both on the KME with its extension arm as well as on a stone. Nice amount of belly with this swoop up. The point is above the spine, which I think technically makes it a Tonto, but that's just me, my craziness. Nice 4-handle grip, but what I use this for mostly is as my primary steak knife. It feels really good for that, and it cuts meat with a nice amount of belly very, very well. So I love using this knife. No one else basically gets to touch this knife, and I love the Osage Orange too, which, if you don't know, farmers use to mark the borders of their farms, and so you'll often find them in the countryside out in the middle of fields and rows. And they also make really good bows as well if you're into bow making. So, and Osage Orange have these big balls that fall down. I don't know, I like Osage Orange, I like that tree, and I love this knife. Next, so we have the Bark River field knife. This was the first production run of this guy. I didn't necessarily, it kind of reminds me of the GNS from LT Wright. Not the cleanest right now, but anyway, it is a good knife for field prep and for field work. It is a little too small to baton with, and it doesn't have, it has a swedge up there as well. But it is a good knife for poking into things and for cutting up some vegetables and stuff. It's a little thick behind the edge for that, but honestly, I keep it in my knife block just because it works better in the kitchen than anywhere else that I have in my life, and so I do use this kind of like for larger things. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but it is a good knife. I like it. I kind of wish I'd gotten different scales now, but it's fine. This is maple burl, yellow and green maple burl. Bark River knives. And the steel on this one, by the way, was 3V, which is actually a pretty good kitchen steel. I've come to like it a lot. Another bird and trout knife. Moving up, this is 154 cm, which is a pretty good knife steel as well. And this is the Bark River one. Tip is just a little bit broken, so I started sharpening it. This is the convex grind again. This works really well. Very sharp. It's a full flat. So in other words, the convex goes from the blade all the way up to the spine, whereas this has a flat up here and a swedge. This makes it very slicey and thin. Very good for processing small stuff. I like this knife a lot. Feels really good in the hand. And again, I got the yellow and green maple burl. All right, so now we're getting to some of the knives that I absolutely use the most. Number one, the Kalahari Sport. This has a lot of sweeping up edge here. This is for processing meat. 154 cm again. This is Bark River. I like this a lot. Very, very slicey. Processes meat incredibly good. There's only one other knife I have that maybe processes meat better, and I'll get to that in a minute. I got the red handle on this, and I like this red G10 a lot. I like the way that it looks and feels. But this is pretty much exclusively a kitchen knife. This is a Kalahari, and I really like long, thin blades, a lot of curve. Again, full convex up to the spine. Works really well on meat. And it even has a sharpening choil. Look at that. Bark River with a sharpening choil. Amazing. Okay, here's kind of a specialized knife. This is the Creely Adder. It is, can you notice the big difference here? Woohoo. It's got a, the grind on this is, oh God, I'm blanking on the name of the grind. This is Magna Cut, made by Creely, and it is the, oh God, I feel like such an idiot. Anyway, it's only sharp. It basically comes down to a point on one side, and it's a right-handed one. He makes them for left-handed people too, but I cut right-handed. This is a processing sous chef type knife. Works extraordinarily well. I highly recommend it. This white G10 doesn't stain at all. It looks really good. I kind of wish it came in red as well, but the texture on this is really nice. It's not going to slip, and it just, yeah, it works incredibly well. I absolutely enjoy it. I cannot recommend this knife highly enough. Creely makes some awesome good knives. Very small maker, but well worth it. From Pennsylvania. I think he actually lives fairly close to where I am too. I've never met him though. But there's a Lehigh Valley knife show, and I'm thinking I'm going to go to the next one. He always has a table there, and hopefully I get a chance to meet him. So Gary Creely, if you're meeting this, I look forward to meeting you one day because I really enjoy your knives. All right, moving on. Another Sioux prep type knife, all-around knife that I have is the Bark River Petty Z. Very nice. This is CPM 154. Seems to be a theme with them as far as they like to use 154 cm and 3V for their more kitchen type knives, which is a great steel for that purpose. A nice amount of belly here, drop point. Works very well in the kitchen. I use it all the time. Like, you can shave cucumber skin off with this very easily and not make big divots in the cucumber. Like, it's micro precision, your edge precision is very high with this knife. Now, you remember when let's see if I can show you what I was talking about. Like, do you see how the belt the belt right here, you can see where it was sanded down to be sharpened, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are also some scratches going this way from where my wife or someone else cleaned it and they used the brush this way instead of just going this way. So I think a satin finish is better than a belt finish like this because you might end up getting scratches going that way. And that's only if you're like really anal like me and you want to keep your nice knives nice. But you know, that's why I say I kind of like those laser etching on the bird. I thought that was nice. Now I don't think that the laser etching would look good here, but I do think that it would have been nice if this was satin finish. But that'd probably bring up the cost of the knife some more. And really, this knife is expensive as it is. LT Wright has a ton of kitchen knives. I don't have any of them, and I don't know why. I don't have any of them. Although the LT Wright knives seem really great for that. I have a lot of LT Wright knives that are for bushcraft. This one is the Nessmuk, and oh, you know what? So I thought I had in my hand this guy here. This is the Northern Hunter, has a lot of belly here, and I can use it for processing very large amount of meat. This is AEBL. I do like it a lot. I mainly use it in the kitchen for processing large meat, or like when I'm going to barbecue and I have a beef brisket. This is the knife I'm going to pull out and use to cut off some fat with it or whatever. And then very closely behind that and a little bit smaller is the Nessmuk. Almost the same kind of blade profile, and I've just did a opening on review this. I've just started using this knife. I absolutely love the Nessmuk. I love the Nessmuk story. I love the guy that wrote the George Washington Sears. George Washington Sears was one of the first ultralight backpackers in the Adirondacks, and this was his pattern for a knife. Works really well for processing game, and both of these knives here are, besides the Kalahari, are the knives that I process meat with. This trio of knives is stupendous, and I like them a lot. And this one, is this ABL? This is Crewwear. Also, this is Crewwear, which is pretty cool too. I've never really had much Crewwear in my life, so I'm very excited to get a chance to use Crewwear. And all right, we're down to the big boys now. First off, probably the knife I use the most when I need a big boy. This is the North Arms knife, and I'm blanking on the name, but hopefully it just popped up right there. This is S35VN. North Arms is from British Columbia. Like I said, I also have their bird and trout knife. S35VN, not as stainless as you would think. If you leave tomato sauce on this to dry overnight, it will get some patina on here, but it will also clean up pretty nicely. And look at this, a nice satin finish. So I can clean this pretty much any way I want to, even if I take the brush back and forth this way. The satin finish kind of helps with that. If you do get a little bit of patina on your kitchen knife, don't worry about it. It does come off. I really like the handle shape on this. Almost like a hammer grip, but it feels really good in the hand. And for processing large amounts of stuff, works really well. I've had to sharpen this a few times, and it, you know, with stropping and maintenance, it stays just fine. In a minute here, I'm going to show you a diamond rod that I use sometimes when something like this gets just beyond the point where a strop will help you, but you don't necessarily want to sharpen it fully. I'm going to show you the diamond rod I use. Finally, the last big knife that I've been using a lot in the kitchen is the Aurora 3. Very heavy, counterintuitive, thick behind the edge. I mean, look at the difference. It's almost like a 1/4-inch thick, basically. The Aurora 3 was made as a April Fool's joke, and they went ahead and made it. I got these mosaic pins here. Very nice micarta with red liners here. And it says it's for bushcraft. That's what the compass symbol means on this Bark River, and it's in 3V. Giant knife. Done a full review of this knife. It has a little bit of a flat spot right here, and it's not fully curving right here, which is a little bit of a problem. And I think that is just like, I don't know, it's kind of unexcusable for a knife this expensive, but at the same time, it doesn't really hold me back, and I do love this knife. Would I use this out in the woods as like a semi-machete all-around camp knife? No, I use it in the kitchen. I use it for processing large vegetables that need to be cut up and kind of chopped like cordwood if I'm making a giant meal or a giant curry or something like that. I do like this knife, and it's still, because of it's a convex grind, very sharp, and I can shave and be very accurate with it too. That weight of it actually helps me push through some of the larger root vegetables, which want to split almost like wood, but it still is slicey enough that it slices. So that's how I use this knife. Is it practical? No, not really. Do I love it? Absolutely. I think it's a banger of a knife, and I really, really like it. Finally, I use this diamond rod here, this diamond steel here. This is made by DMT, and this is their fine one. This is a very dangerous thing to do, and in a way, I would suggest maybe even getting a ceramic rod instead. This is their fine one. It's very long, as you can see. Maybe you can't see, but it is very long. I use this very sparingly. I use this when a knife, like I said, has just about lost its ability to be sharpened or to be rehoed, to be really sharp with a strop, and like something like this. And so I don't necessarily want to take this and try to KME it or put it on a stone, but I do want to cook. So I'll take it, and what I'll do is I'll very lightly, without pushing too hard, use this as a strop. And I will do like 7 on one side, 7 on the other, and go down like I'm using a strop. And then I will use a strop after that. And it restores the edge to like 80 to 90% effectiveness after that, which I find to be all I need 99% of the time. So having a nice stone like this, a nice diamond steel like this is very nice. But a lot of times people overuse it. They use it too often and they push too hard. That is my advice. So don't do that. There's a link to that down below in the stuff that I usually carry. So that is my knife block. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what kitchen knives you love in the comments below. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Really helps the channel. If you want to win a knife, get a chance to win a knife every month for $3 a month, join the Patreon crew down below. You too could be entered to win a knife every month. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time on Sharp Ends. Bye-bye now.